All eyes are on Georgia ahead of the very first debate between former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden taking place here in Atlanta. President Trump's National Press Secretary, Karoline Leavitt, joining us right now. Karoline, thank you so much for being on with us. I want to start by talking about the network that is hosting the debate, CNN. We know that President Trump, he has not spoken highly of CNN because he feels like CNN has not spoken highly of him. He has agreed to come on this debate. My question for you, and today we actually heard from the president during one of his surrogate events. He was asked, does he feel like he's going to get a fair shot at this debate? He says, I don't know, hopefully. In your opinion, what does fair treatment look like on that debate stage Thursday night?
Well, we do hope that CNN will treat both candidates, President Trump and President Biden, fairly. We hope that they will ask good, tough questions of both candidates that are focused on the issues that matter to Americans. And poll after poll tells us that on the top of mind for voters across this country who will be tuning in tomorrow night, the issues are immigration, our wide open border, and inflation that is robbing hardworking families of thousands of dollars every single year. So we hope that CNN will ask those tough questions. We also hope that CNN will ask Joe Biden why he lied on the CNN debate stage 4 years ago about the existence of his son's laptop. Of course, that has become the infamous Hunter Biden laptop story, which at the time during that debate, Joe Biden brushed off as Russian disinformation. We now know that not to be true. And so we hope, again, that CNN will ask these hard questions of both candidates and stay focused on the issues that matter. And if President Trump is given adequate time to speak, if his microphone is not cut off by these liberal moderators, then we know this is going to be a great opportunity for President Trump to highlight his strength versus Joe Biden's weakness.
Now, we do know that President Trump has agreed to the rules that the mics will be muted until his time is to speak. So we will certainly see what happens. I want to ask you about the polls that you just touched on. Across many polls, including one that just came out here in Georgia, the former president has an edge over President Joe Biden in Georgia. What does Trump need to do to maintain his lead here in Georgia so that he takes the White House in November, in your opinion?
President Trump and our campaign are going to continue to do what we have been doing, and that is going to every corner of this country. In Georgia, in Atlanta, we have some great surrogates on the ground today ahead of the debate, going into traditionally Democrat communities and speaking to these voters and bringing President Trump's winning message there about how he is going to put American citizens ahead of illegal immigrants, put them first again, their families, how he's going to bring down the cost of living, groceries, gas, rent have all become astronomically expensive in Joe Biden's America. President Trump has a real plan to bring down the cost of living in this country, to revive our energy industry, to secure our southern border, to bring peace back around this world. So he has a winning message that he will continue to bring to all corners of this country, to the great state of Georgia, where he's currently leading as well.
And we do know that he is doing campaign events. Like I said, just an hour ago, I was at one of them where his surrogates was speaking and he called in. Is President Trump doing any type of formal debate prep for Thursday?
President Trump has met with policy advisors that are experts on the issues that will come up, we expect, in tomorrow night's debate. With that said, he has mainly continued with his very busy campaign schedule, having rallies across the country. He's given 3 hours long speeches in 3 different cities over the past week to crowds of thousands of people. He's taken questions directly from voters. We saw him do that in a cheesesteak shop in Philadelphia last weekend. Unlike Joe Biden, who is hiding away at Camp David and it has not held one publicly scheduled event in the past week. And honestly, I think that's concerning and should be concerning to voters in Georgia. The fact that the leader of the free world, Joe Biden, cannot prep for a debate and also govern at the same time. He has to hide away for an entire week. Not President Trump. He's been continuing with his very rigorous schedule.
I want to ask you about a case that President Trump is facing here in Fulton County, a case that everybody knows about, with District Attorney Fani Willis presiding it. That case, we do know, is on hold right now as the Court of Appeals considers a decision to let District Attorney Fani Willis stay on this case. But my question to you, Ms. Leavitt, is the Trump campaign concerned that this could go to trial before the election, or do you believe that the election will decide what the outcome of the trial will be?
No, our legal team is quite confident that this case will not move to trial ahead of the election. Our legal team has long said that this case should be dismissed entirely because it has zero merits on the basis of the law. The charges that Fani Willis have brought against President Trump are ludicrous. There are no evidence to prove them. So we've asked for this case to be thrown out of court. And that's not even mentioning the alleged misconduct of Fani Willis and her lead prosecutor in this case, who I know is no longer on the case. But regardless, this case should not move forward. But we are confident now that it will not move to trial before this election, and it should never move to trial for that matter.
In a recent poll here, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution did on likely voters. About 8% of those voters are undecided. You touched on that earlier in our conversation, right? There are people who might see former President Trump's policies and say, okay, I like them, but this guy is just off the walls. I do not like him as a person, right? And then there's people on the reverse. They don't like his policies, but they also don't like President Biden's policies. So what is the plan of attack here to try to garner the support of those undecided voters so you don't lose those votes to the couch?
Well, anyone who is questioning that in their head, I'd encourage them to come to one of President Trump's events to hear from him directly. We were in Atlanta, Georgia. We stopped by a Chick-fil-A just outside of the city, and I saw President Trump there connecting with voters on the ground, taking the time to answer their questions, to hear from them directly, shake their hands, take photos with them. That's who he is. He loves this country. He loves the people of this country. He loves the people of Georgia, and that's why he's running for president. You know, President Trump doesn't have to be doing this. He is not a decades-long career politician like Joe Biden, who has been in public office for more than 50 years. President Trump is a businessman first, but he has chosen to step into the political arena because he truly loves this country. He wants to make it great again for all Americans, regardless of the color of their skin, how much money they make, what state they come from. President Trump has a plan to uplift all Americans, to put more money back into their pocketbooks, to keep them safe and secure, and to make this country thrive. And so I think that's a winning message with undecided voters, and President Trump will continue to meet as many voters as possible on the campaign trail to change their hearts and their minds.
Karoline Leavitt, thank you so much for coming on and breaking down the policies ahead of this debate. May the best man win on that stage on Thursday. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you.